Hi folks, I'm going to show you how to draw a vacuum formed drawer organizer in isometric projection. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just look at my measurements. It's 220 by 145 millimeters. I'm just going to draw that out first of all. Before I do that, I'm going to switch on grid lock. Always switch that on first, and I'm going to click on this, right click on this dots here to bring up my grid spacing. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to change this to 5 millimeters, and you can change this as often as you want because it can get a little bit confusing sometimes because these triangles for the isometric are very small. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that I'm drawing a perfectly sort of diagonal line at that 30-degree angle until I get to 220, and I'm looking down here at the axial relationships, and this is now 230, 225, 220. I'm going to go up 10, okay, because that's actually the thickness of our walls, and then I'm just going to join that up into this sort of long sort of diagonal strip. Now this way I'm going to go across 145, staying on that line. It's really important, okay, because that is actually the other side. And once I've done this, I'm going to go 145 this way. It's kind of initially it's a bit sort of strange because it feels as though you're kind of drawing to straight air until you actually join it up and it all kind of comes together like this. Brilliant. Okay, now I'm also going to say that the thickness of the sides is 10 millimeters. You could actually say it's 14. The pieces of wood we've been using have actually been 14, so I'm going to just actually call them 15, just round it up. And you'll see here the height is 10, that's fine. I'm actually just drawing parallel lines 15 millimeters away. That's 15, see, 5, 10, 15 when you look at the axial reference. 15. And inside of that I'm drawing also sort of three-dimensional walls. Oops, that's what I'm talking about. You need to really stay on the line. You'll see it straight away if you draw off the line. Great. Great. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to my plan and have a quick look. There is a gap of 30 there, so I'm just going to minimize this again, and I'm going to go across on the top 30. And once I've kind of hit that spot, I'm going to just draw my line straight down. Now your designs are probably more complex than this, but I'm just going to do something quite straightforward to start off with. Oops. It's very easy when you've got a grid lock switched on to make mistakes, but I'm just going to delete away those mistakes completely. Now I've got some lines crossing over each other here, which is a little bit of an imperfection, so I'm just going to get rid of those by using the part delete. You've got delete any and part delete. I'm just going to use the part delete to get rid of those. Now this is pretty much done. I'm going to colour this in a moment. Before I do that, however, I want to show you actually, if you want to put it like an elliptical shape in this, what you need to do is you need to actually draw sort of a square, but in isometric, so that would be a diamond shape. So I'm just going to choose a diamond shape which is 20 by 20. Now you're going to use this as a reference only, so you're going to draw a circle within this, and the radius of the circle is going to be 20. Okay, so I'm going to select that circle, and I'm going to go to I think it is transform distort, and I get the option to replace it. That's what I want to do, and what I do is I drag each of those nodes into a corner of my diamond shape, and watch what happens when I press enter. It becomes an ellipse. Then all I need to do is use delete any to delete away the lines on the outside. And then basically what I can do is to copy and paste this if I want to have something cylindrical. The last bit of this can be a little tricky, so what I'm going to do is I'll show you that as well, because you might notice if I do want to make it into a perfect cylinder, the lines aren't exactly on the very edge of the long axis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line across, and this is going to give me a bit of a guide. I'm going to use part delete away this, and hope that this works. And I'm going to switch off gridlock and use the attach tool. Now what happens with the attach tool is it attaches to the nearest corner, and that should give me a perfectly attached to the very edge of that long axis. Let's just undo that. And what I'm going to do is just rub out this bit of the curve here, and then I've got a solid cylinder, and that's how you draw a solid cylinder in 2D design. It's a little bit taller than the rest of it, but I'm going to put it in nonetheless. Before I do that, I need to switch on the gridlock again so it stays locked into a kind of a nice neat place for me. Alright, this is looking great. What I can do afterwards is I can select the whole thing and move it around. I can even change the grid spacing back, you know, to like make it look less busy on the page. But what I want to do now is contour, fill up the boundary with a fill, and I'm going to use a gradiated fill. I'm going to put it at an angle, and you can put any kinds of colours you want into this, which makes it really fun. So I'm going to use like a light colour. I'm going to add a colour, and I think I'll add maybe another blue, and that just gives it a nice kind of sheen, but you could add as many colours as you want. Okay, and it's just going to ask me any islands, and I'm going to say no. An island is like a separate piece of the design which is closed off, which you might want to do in a different color, or you might want to just use a different gradient. I'm going to go back into it and do that in a minute. Now if you want to put dimensions on your design, it's very important that you do that afterwards. So there we go. So that would have been an island, but I just decided to do it like that. Dimensions, put them on now. Yeah, 145. I think I might try and get the number actually inside this time. And if possible, try not to get the dimension lines crossing over your actual design. In some cases you can't help it. But I'm going to use the attach tool just so I can get onto that radius there. Oh, it's actually giving me a distance. Hang on, undo. You have to choose radius by holding the mouse button down, clicking here, and you should be able to locate. Maybe just go back to gridlock, maybe that helps. Okay, it's not liking the radius because it's an ellipse, of course, it hasn't got like a set radius. But there you go, that's how you actually draw your draw organizer in isometric, how to draw an ellipse and turn it into sort of like a cylindrical shape in 3D, and also add color and add dimensions. I hope that's been helpful for you. Thanks for watching.